Good morning, hopefully. Good evening for those of you and our friends in Europe. And Merry Christmas to everybody down in Australia and New Zealand. I think in New Zealand it's Yachting Day, is it not? I don't know. It's early here. I am Kevin Williams, your Kevinly father. I don't think anyone's watching right now, watching live. We just got started. We did 2 countdowns because it didn't look like we were actually broadcasting. So we may not, in fact, be broadcasting, which is fine. I'm awake, and I didn't get enough sleep, so I might as well stay awake. Let's see, I'm playing some Netsing with Kevinly daughter this morning. That's tennis for those of you who are American and don't know that the rest of the world calls it Netsing. We'll take a look at what we should be outraged by today. There's a number of things to be outraged by across the United States and the world. We never seem to be focused on the right things to be outraged by. It looks like we have a viewer, so good morning. If you're not watching this live, a ton of people, 800,000 people watch this usually on replay. This is a little early for somebody, and it's without notice. And I understand. I didn't broadcast yesterday. I battled with a hot water tank most of yesterday. So the house where the TBD Studios is... good morning, Falling Stone. There you go. Oh, that's right. Okay. Twitter's not showing me who's watching, so a bunch of people are watching on Twitter. But hi, guys. I know you're out there. So, don't use hot water. That's my advice to the world. The hot water tank burst. It flooded. I've been trying to install it. The new hot water tank is shorter than the old hot water tank. Same amount, but they make them wider now because in California, you can't get the thin ones anymore. The wider ones are more energy efficient. And it's anyway. So there were several things done with the last hot water tank that I don't know how it passed inspection. So I had to get a table. I had to get a hot water stand for $50 that's 16 inches high, but that makes it about 2 inches too high for the vent on top to work with the configuration that they have. So the option being just fake the vent and let the next family who lives here die of carbon monoxide poisoning. I think that's probably the way it's going to go. Otherwise, I'm going to have to empty that hot water tank. And that seems like too much effort just to save 4 or 5 lives. Lives. How many lives would you say? How many lives would you save? How many It's a V. It should be a V. Again, it's early, folks. Let's find out what we should be outraged by this morning by watching our friends over at Fucks and Friends.
Listen, we've got lots to talk about.
Yeah, not necessarily.
We do have lots to talk about. I tell you something to talk about. So, I slam doors. I don't. But I can't remember the last time I was so angry about something. I was like, well, the first Darren was the best, and I would slam the door intentionally. I don't. I just shut doors. I shut them well. I make sure that they're shut. And right now we don't have a dishwasher that actually works because the hot water. Now we actually have hot water in the house. The funny thing is, this house has 2 hot water tanks. And it turns out that all the bathrooms except one are powered by the other hot water tank that's working fine. So we've been able to take showers and stuff like that. We just haven't been able to use the dishwasher. And the washing machine been washing with cold water, which is fine. That just means our stuff doesn't shrink. It's not a big deal. But anyway, the house is being sold. I'm living here sort of temporarily, and I'm trying to earn my keep. So I put the hot water in just to have the dishwasher running. Now, the proprietor of the house got upset with me yesterday because the dishwasher was open, and I had to kind of come through that space between the kitchen counter where the dishwasher comes out, the door comes down, and the stuff comes out, and the island. And I think I had something in my hand, and I pushed the dishwasher drawer in with my foot, and then I used my other foot to shut it. And the top rack was still out a little bit too, so the thing shut, and it made a lot more noise. I didn't intend to to shoot it up and slam the thing and push the thing back. And the proprietor said, like, hey, don't slam the dishwasher. I said, I didn't slam it. I said, take a look, see if there's anything broken in there, because there's no way it's going to be broken. It's plastic, it's absorbed. So yeah, a mug broke. It was one of her mugs. So and it can't be fixed. It'll never be fixed. So I fixed it yesterday with the use of crazy glue. You can actually see. Okay, so down there you can see that a little bit. So it's not perfect, but it's there. So it's working. The crazy glue has held, and this will be the mug that I use for the rest of my time here because it's not fixable and it can't be fixed. Good morning, Marcy. And I do feel terrible about breaking the thing. So this is going to be my main mug. I think every second day, because I don't want to use it dirty. Once I get the dishwasher actually working, and then I've got my other mug, my birthday mug that actually says Spilling COVFEFE. A big cup of COVFEFE. And that was a courtesy of our friend Marcy. Good morning, Marcy. So let's get to the news of the day. Beyond the fixing of mugs that are unfixable, it is unfixable. It is unfixable. It is unfixable.
Right.
Yes. Look at the cover.
Lots to talk about. Look at the cover of the New York Post. That's how you want to consume your news in the United States, is the cover of the New York Post.
You know, we talked about this yesterday, and the New York Post has got the cover. Wolf in sheep's clothing. That's General Milley. That's General Lee. And apparently he called him at the conclusion of the Trump...
what are they going to call this? The insurrection?
At the conclusion of the Trump term after January.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the conclusion of the Trump term. This is before the conclusion of the Trump term. This is before the election. This is after January 6th. This is during that time period because General Milley's job is to talk to his counterparts in other countries, adversaries or allies. That's what he does. He doesn't actually have a position within the military. He doesn't have command authority. He's sort of a coordinator. He's sort of like our State Department, but military. Basically, yeah, he's sort of the liaison for the Pentagon, is what he is.
6th, and before the election, essentially he said, hey, look, Donald Trump's unstable, but I'm steady. I'm going to take care of you. We're not going to blow you up. And if we try to, we'll call you first.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. And I'd love to see the transcript of that call because I'm sure he didn't actually say, I will call you before we attack. He might have said, if missiles are on the way, I'll let you know. He might have said something like, if you do this, we will do this. But more likely, he spent an hour and a half just trying to calm the Chinese down because it's certain the Chinese were feared of, as was I, that Donald Trump was going to try and wag the dog. When you're in a war, typically, even though we were in wars, when you're in a war that Americans remember, because remember we'd forgotten about Afghanistan until we tried to get out of Afghanistan. When you're in a war, you get reelected. Wartime presidents get reelected. That's the common thinking. None of the wartime presidents are as bad, have been as bad as the Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, war or not, I don't believe would have gotten elected. By the way, the argument that it's not possible that 80 million plus people voted for Joe Biden. How is he the most popular president in history? Donald Trump got 12 million additional votes, 20 million additional votes, more than any other sitting president in history. None of that matters. How do we know that Joe Biden possibly got all those votes? Well, we just had a recall election in California that was more closely watched than any election in history because of all the watching that's being done by the Republicans, mostly mail-in, by the way. But the ballots scrutinized, many, many lawyers across the land of California, and the Democrats took about 2 out of 3 votes. 2 out of every 3 votes. So how is it possible that Joe Biden got 80 plus million votes? Because there's a lot of Americans. And in California alone, they favor Democrats 2-1.
According to this new book called Peril by
what we were hearing going into the Newsom recall was that it was independents and Democrats that had turned away from Newsom. Nope, not a thing. Not a thing at all. And as it turned out, I think those are both correct. Anyway, Californians, we don't like COVID. We just don't. The vast majority of Californians said, you know what? The COVID restrictions, we don't mind it because California is the first and only state to get over that hump with the Delta virus. We're the only, of all 50 states, we're the only state to come out of the red emergency state so far. It's still bad in California. We still got the Delta variant. It's still spreading. It could change next week. But so far, California over that hump. As of yesterday, according to the CDC, we're the only one. That's it. Hold on. I'll tell you the official wording on that. I captured it on my phone when I saw it because that's cool. Only state to advance out of high transmission category for COVID. So the high transmission category. We're it. There we go. See all those red states? Then there's that orange state over in the corner. That's California. Okay? So that's good. I don't know where Fox 2 is. This is just a screenshot. Fox 2 KTVU. Hold on, let's find out together. KTVU is out of... it is out of... oh, that's San Francisco. Makes perfect sense. I haven't spent enough time in San Francisco. Doesn't seem like I have. By the way, the MASH migration coming out of the MASH migration... you know, when Hawkeye, when Honeycutt is leaving and Hawkeye spells out goodbye with the sandbags and everybody cries. Maybe the best episode of television ever. At least in terms of comedies. Because it was a dramedy. The MASH migration out of California, it's not happening. University of California, San Diego did a study that said, hey, are we having this mass exodus? This Kexit, if you will? No. Really, same percentage of Californians leaving as have been leaving the last 30, 40 years. And people come into California, and people leave California. And people move to Texas because it's cheap. But there's no mass exodus, no sudden exodus. This has been happening for a while.
Bob Woodward.
No one is leaving California because Gavin Newsom went to the French Laundry. And do people really have that big of a problem with Gavin Newsom going to the French Laundry? I do. I'm still irate. Well, I'm not irate about it anymore. But yeah, hypocrite. He's a slick politician. I'm not a fan. But in general, Californians, 2/3 of which said, no, we're fine with this. The recall is a tremendous waste of money.
Robert Costa, they said that he called General Lee and said, General Lee, you and I have known each other for 5 years. If we're going to attack, I'm going to call you ahead of time. It's not going to be a surprise.
Right,
so the question is, was he undermining President Trump, or...
Gavin Newsom is very pretty.
Is the Woodward...
I think what I'm most upset by Gavin is that when I travel to England and I say, hi, I'm Kevin, they say, oh, Gavin?
and Costa reporting false information.
Right, that's how you get your master's degree.
Is your name is Gavin? Hello, Gavin. Top of the morning to ya. What?
War college. You warn the it's in
The enemy,
yeah,
the adversary.
Absolutely. I'm just going to hit you. I'm going to describe the bombs that are going to hit you.
First off, it's not treason. You have to be at war with another country in order for it to be treason. This is right in the Constitution. This is inarguable. Well, I mean, depending on how you look at treason. No. From the standpoint of treason, not treason. The accusations of treason, they're coming from Trump, so you know they're wrong. And again, here's General Milley trying to save us from nuclear annihilation. Yeah. Why? Because he knew the president was nuts and is nuts. Why? If you're a television station, if you consider yourself news, and I know Fox News is entertainment, whatever, but you're calling yourself news, at least it's not treason. It's just not. Is it betrayal of the country? Sure, you could say that. We don't know. I haven't read the book. The book's not even out yet. But again, these are snippets that Oh my goodness. Oh, this has happened. Oh, it's salacious. That's what you do. You release the most salacious details of the book, and those all come out before the book comes out. And then honestly, there's probably no reason to buy the book. There's probably other stuff in there too, but the salacious bits come out first because then you want to read the whole book. I do want to read the book, and I probably will read the book.
Get your missile defense ready. General Lee, you and I have known each other for 5 years. If we're going to attack, we're going to call you ahead. Fantastic. He feared Trump was suffering from a serious mental decline. So what happened yesterday? Let's explain ourselves. Well, we know Joe Biden's going to back him. We know this. The spokesman for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Colonel Butler, said in defending the allegations, he said the conversations were vital to reduce...
Oh, by the way, they weren't secret. Like 15 people were on these phone calls. It's all recorded. And I hope the transcripts are released at some point. And it will be a misinterpretation. First off, I'd have to see the book, and the book's not out yet, so I'm not really sure what the words that were used. The words might be out there. I haven't done a lot of research into this. Again, I've been busy battling a hot water tank, so there's probably information out there that doesn't quite match up with the interpretation of, yeah, I'll give you a warning if we're going to attack you.
Reducing tensions and avoiding unintended consequences for the...
And if that's not the case, if General Milley actually said, I'll give you a heads up if we're going to take military action against you, if he actually said that's not good. On the other hand, he kept China from attacking us. Remember, China thought that Trump was going to wag the dog. I thought that Trump was going to wag the dog. He didn't. But I thought this before the election. Once January 6th happened, remember, Trump was secluded. Trump was not talking to anybody. Nobody knew what was going on. That was a scary time in U.S. history because that man still wanted to be in power. He tried to overthrow the constitutional process and stay in power. There's more stuff in the book, by the way, Peril, that the Acosta and Woodward book that's coming out next week. There's more stuff about how Mike Pence was trying really hard to justify his overturning of the Constitution and keep Trump in office. And it was Dan Quayle, Mr. Potato Head, who saved the United States. Dan Quayle. By the way, in defense of Dan Quayle, I look at potato and I don't think it's spelled correctly too. I believe there should be an O. And we put an O on it when it's plural. Come on. Yeah, this is the Woodward book. This is all where this is coming from. The Woodward Acosta book.
This conflict for a would-be conflict. To me, it seems like
Dan Quayle, Mike Pence was trying to justify the electoral count being overturned. Him somehow, the thinking was by the right that Pence can dismiss outright certain electoral counts from certain states and send them back to the states. That's not how it works. Both the House and the Senate have to vote to reject a state's submission of electors. Okay? That's set by the Electoral Count Act back in 1888. There is the thinking in the Republic, this is a bastardized version of the Constitution. The thinking was that Mike Pence could reject certain states, and then because there was no decision, it would go to the House, and there's a process. If there's a tie, it goes to the House. The House then decides, and because the Republicans controlled more states in the House, by the way, every state gets one vote. Doesn't matter how many representatives you have. The Democrats had more representatives, but it goes by states. So each 50 states gets one vote. There were more Republican states than there were Democrats. And so the thinking was, if we can push it to the House, if there's somehow a tie in the electoral count, then the House will vote, and the House will vote in Donald Trump. All of that is wrong. But Pence at one point called Dan Quayle and was like, hey, what if but couldn't I, hey, but what if? And Dan Quayle's like, no, stop it. This is not a thing. You cannot do this. Unequivocally, Dan Quayle was like, no, this is the Constitution. This is the way it works. Say what you will about the Bushes and the Quayles and the Cheneys, but they're some of the sane Republicans. They're not the Republicans who quiz a general or a doctor or a secretary of state and then, no, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Which is what happened the other day with Congressperson Mast in the hearings with Secretary Abe Lincoln.
Speaker Pelosi got him exercised. Look out. Trump's nuts. You better stop him. The problem is Pelosi isn't in the chain of command, and he's got people he's got to check with. And for the second call, we had an acting defense secretary, and that acting defense secretary said he knew nothing, Chris Miller, about this, which is a problem.
Yeah, Chris Miller also said that he recommended that the president keep 2,500 troops on the ground there in Afghanistan before the pullout. And he said, no, the president was determined because he thought that the military officials were pushing Barack Obama back in the day to keep our troops there, and he didn't agree with that. And also being reported, Nancy Pelosi, according to this book that is not out yet, Nancy Pelosi called General Milley demanding that the nuclear football be taken away from President Trump. And Milley summoned all of his senior officials, according to the book, and told his officials that he must be involved in any decision to launch a nuclear weapon. So was Milley colluding with Nancy Pelosi to undermine President Trump's constitutional ability to have that nuclear button?
Well, you know, President Trump feels like Milley stabbed him in the back, and he's got to go. However, as you mentioned a moment ago, Joe Biden and Jen Psaki think he's just great. Watch.
I have great confidence.
Trump's statement is deranged. Particularly, I'll pull it up for you. Hold on. Before we go to Biden, they kind of brushed over it because Trump's statement sounds like a crazy person saying, "Don't call me a crazy person." Let's pull up Donald J. Trump. We'll pull up news and alerts. We'll pull up news. Wait, are they not updating his news page? It's not there. The statement from President Trump is not on his page. I don't know if they took it down or if it was up at all, but it's not up there now. Hold on, let me see if I can find it on the Twitter. This is the page, and it starts off with the first article is from the 15th, yesterday. Okay, so it's got to be there. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the 15th. Hold on. So, Afghanistan withdrawal. Biden's presidency is already a total disaster, and it's all... These are all in case you missed it. What has happened? Why is he doing in case you missed it? But there's no statement. Hold on. Let me see if there's... No. These are just links to other articles. So Trump's statement from yesterday is gone from his website. Whether it was there or not, I have no way of verifying. But let's go to... let's do this. This is Twitter. Let's go to Trump statement. And, okay. So he did something about... Okay, so all of his statements from yesterday are not there. Here we go. This is another statement on Milley. This is not the statement. So he put out a bunch of stuff yesterday. No. This is... Where are all these from? This is... Okay, that's... Here we go. That's the September 11th statement. Come on. How about... Here we go. This is a statement from Donald J. Trump. Oh, this is from the 14th. So let's see. It might still be on his site. Hold on. I don't want to misreport the news. So the statement's actually from 2 days ago, and I didn't even see it until yesterday. The 14th. Okay, so there's a bunch of statements that day, so it may still be up on his site. Here we go. This is from the official site. This is, just listen to this. This is one sentence. This entire paragraph is one sentence. If the story of dumbass, it's the president talking about, and dumbass, that's his new nickname, just dumbass. He can't even, not even little. If the story of dumbass General Mark Milley The same failed leader who engineered the worst withdrawal from a country, Afghanistan, in U.S. history, leaving behind many dead and wounded soldiers, many American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the newest and most sophisticated military equipment in the world, and our country's reputation is true, then I assume he will be tried for treason in that he would have been dealing with his Chinese counterpart behind the president's back and telling China that he would be giving them notification of an attack. Can't do that. That's all one sentence until can't do that. Dumbass. The good news is that the story's fake news. Okay. So first you start up by saying, if that's what happened, it's treason, but it was fake news. That's the good news. So, in fact, General Milley didn't do that, and he's not a dumbass. So that whole first sentence I had there doesn't matter because it's fake news. Idiot. Let's go back. Here's Biden, what Biden had to say about General Milley.
To General Milley.
The president has worked side by side with Chairman Milley for almost 8 months as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. His experience with him has been that he is a patriot. He is somebody who has fidelity to the Constitution, and he has confidence in his leadership.
I just think that's brave. I mean, what you see here, this is an act of American bravery. For a ginger to wear the fire red like that, that's impressive. And you know what? She pulls it off. Just this woman has got, like, Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's balls.
With Chairman Milley for almost 8 months as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. His experience with him has been that he is a patriot. He is somebody who has fidelity to the Constitution, and he has confidence in his leadership.
And here's the reason why the White House loves General Milley, because Milley did exactly what Joe Biden said for years he was going to do. He ended the war in Afghanistan.
Right, that's what Trump did. As what, remember, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Fox News has got some exclusive reporting that apparently Joe Biden ignored advisors on Afghanistan because he was so hell-bent on ending it.
Yeah, Joe Biden wanted to end Afghanistan. Oh, no. Yeah, Trump wanted to end Afghanistan. Signed a deal to surrender and get out completely. No, we're going to stay in Bagram Air Base. That was not part of the agreement. You can see it on the State Department's website. It was, not only are we leaving, but before we go, we will release 5,000 Taliban prisoners from prison. Just getting out. Go ahead, guys. You're out.
According to our sources, the U.S. commander in Afghanistan, Army General Austin Scott Miller, appeared before the Senate Armed Services Committee, and he spilled the beans behind closed doors. And of course, naturally, you know how Washington leaks. Now we know exactly what he said. He advised against a full Afghanistan withdrawal early in the Biden administration, passing the recommendation up the proper chain of command.
But Trump agreed to do it in May. We stayed there longer. Okay, Biden took more time in order to allow more Americans to get out. Some Americans decided to stay. All right. We don't register and force evacuate Americans. Americans are independent citizens. They can do what they want. We can't kidnap them and take them out of a country. That's not the way it works.
He recommended that the president keep at least 2,500 troops on the ground to maintain stability. And Miller said the Taliban could take over the country much faster than what the intel community was saying in 1 or 2 or 3 years. And he feels good that he was able to present his views to the president, but the president didn't listen.
And
Because he said that Barack Obama was rolled by the generals, he wouldn't be. But it doesn't end there. Not only did General Miller, who mysteriously disappeared from the battlefield a few weeks before this.
Okay, because we're not going to leave troops in Afghanistan. Those 2,500 troops, how many of those troops are going to be sitting ducks for ISIS-K? Remember, the Taliban didn't attack the United States, still hasn't attacked the United States. The withdrawal happened. We now have no more troops in Afghanistan, no more sons and daughters to be killed. ISIS-K did the attacking. Trump depended on the Taliban to put an end to terrorism. It didn't work. Trump's plan failed. The Taliban didn't control the terrorists. A terrorist managed to kill about 200 people, including 13 Americans.
Pullout was going to take place. Maybe he stood for something. And I do believe, Steve, that General Milley actually wanted to keep 4,000 troops in there, and he was ignored. He doesn't go and circumvent this president and say that or do it behind closed doors, but that is the report. More on this. Secretary of
More on this. Moron being the operative term.
State Blinken, as well as Secretary of Defense Austin, also believe we should have left presence there. And Blinken called up the president after meeting with NATO in Brussels, meeting with NATO ministers in March, and says, listen, our allies are getting a little upset. They're worried if we pull out, there's going to be a problem. And he finished up with an expletive saying that the general strong-armed President Barack Obama. So he wouldn't buy time. Our allies did weigh in. They were all concerned. The Secretary of State tried to convince Joe Biden he was too bullheaded and thick-skulled. And the Secretary of Defense also said that. So even Joe Biden's own team tried to tell him what a disaster was about to happen, and he ignored all of them.
No, they said we need to stay in Afghanistan. Joe Biden, who's the commander-in-chief, by the way, gets to decide whether or not we stay in Afghanistan. It had been 20 years. How many more years? How many endless years do we want? Remember these endless wars? That's what you're saying these people wanted. We got to leave troops there. It doesn't work that way. The stability is in peril, particularly because Trump let out 5,000 of the worst Taliban as part of the agreement. The die was cast.
Blinken goes on to say the president and Blinken were proponents of pulling out of Afghanistan. But Blinken's concern was we're doing this too quickly, he says. He says the recommendation was to extend the mission with U.S. troops for a while to see if it could yield a political statement and buy time for negotiations. And then he goes on to say that Biden was undeterred. He explained in colorful language that he felt the general strong-armed, as I was saying earlier, President Obama, in staying in Afghanistan, and said that he would withdraw troops by August 31st, and that was that. And that was...
Yeah. The generals convinced Obama to stay in Afghanistan. And so we got an extra 12 years of war. What did we accomplish? Nothing. Now the Taliban is back in charge in Afghanistan. 20 years, 2,500 American soldiers dead. And what have we got for it? Oh, there hasn't been a major terrorist attack on the United States since... Terrorism is worldwide now. Things are different than back in 2000. Terrorism can be organized over the internet, and that's how they do it.
That's when it was going to happen.
That was when it was going to happen because Joe Biden had a date. And Joe Biden said, you know, all of my military advisors say this is the right course of action because they're going.
Turns out that might not be the case.
They warned him.
No, they never said all of them. Biden has never said all of my military advisors. What we know so far is that nobody thought that the Afghan government would flee the country and the army would just lay down its weapons instantly. Nobody said that that would happen. Well, one person said that would happen. But nobody listens to me, so...
said, look, this could happen. But ultimately they said, okay, boss, whatever you say, we're going to make it happen. And in fact, General Miller told...
And here's the thing. I said that would happen, but I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just a prediction.
Told Congress that abandoning Bagram was because of the
Falling Stone knew that would happen.
constraints of the number of troops.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good point, Falling Stone. The American government has always whitewashed Afghanistan. You take a look at the Pentagon Papers. It's a Washington Post got the Afghanistan Papers, which are the modern-day version of the Pentagon Papers. We were lied to about how things were going in Afghanistan by the Bush administration, by the Obama administration, by the Trump administration, possibly by the Biden administration, except that when the Biden administration got in, they're like, we're out of here. This is terrible. Now, it could be that the Biden administration was pushing a rosier picture than what they knew was likely the case. That's entirely possible. That's been every president in Afghanistan. Remember, Trump was saying just a couple of years ago that there was a tremendous esprit de corps and pumping billions of dollars into Afghanistan. Over 4 years, Trump pumped $260 billion into the Afghan army, into infrastructure, into basically a corrupt system where a few people got very rich, obscenely rich. Good night, Falling Stone. Sleep well.
Posed by the president's orders because he is the commander-in-chief. However, there are a number of U.S. senators on the Republican side who say that when you look at Joe Biden's foreign policy mistakes, they're starting to add up, and there seems to be some commonality. Watch.
I know.
The independents and here's Kennedy here. Senator Kennedy's going to give us something folksy. He's always got something folksy up his sleeve. They just want us to wear masks in the shower. Let's hear what he has to say before we even go on. I had something to say, but I can't do folksy like Kennedy can do folksy. Tell us something stupid.
President Biden has said he will stand behind and stands behind General Milley. And maybe that's true for the short term, but I'm going to give you even odds that eventually the White House throws him under the bus. Because the White House desperately needs someone besides President Biden on which to blame the stunning incompetence in Afghanistan.
My old buddy Joe Biden has been...
That wasn't folksy at all. And the Biden administration doesn't see it as stunning incompetence. We evacuated 124,000 people from Afghanistan. As the country collapsed, we were still able to get people out. 124,000 people from Afghanistan with the Taliban in control. And remember, the Taliban still hasn't attacked any Americans. There's rumors of beatings and stuff like that. Somebody being hit with a stick. Very, very bad. Hopefully none of that happened. But the Taliban itself has not officially attacked any Americans. It was ISIS-K. You know, the ISIS that Trump eliminated. He promised he was going to do that very, very quickly. During the campaign in 2015, he promised he was going to bring the generals together and he was going to get a 30-day plan for stopping ISIS. It never happened. Did the ISIS caliphate eventually go away? Yes. And remember how we kicked the Kurds to the curb? Should call them the curbs, really. I mean, historically speaking. The United Nations says that about 500 Kurds died because of Trump's actions. That's true. ISIS-X. What am I thinking, Stephanie? But I'm disappointed that we didn't hear something folksy there. But here's Lindsey Graham. Maybe Lindsey will give us something folksy.
And about as dumb as a rock on foreign policy for 30 years. He's been a disaster as president of the United States. The reason the Taliban...
I'm not sure what disaster has happened under Biden in terms of a disaster for the presidency of the United States. We're done. We're done in Afghanistan. 13 brave soldiers lost their lives because of terrorists. Now, why weren't those terrorists controlled? I don't know. Ask Trump. Trump stopped with the terrorism in Afghanistan. Trump said, right now, the Taliban is going to take care of the terrorism, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. And ISIS-X was allowed to prosper.
in charge today is because of Joe Biden, not Donald Trump, not the generals.
No. Trump abdicated the United States authority in Afghanistan and took out 5,000 Taliban from prison. By the way, the Taliban are not classified as a terrorist organization by the State Department. They're just not. Do they do some terroristic things? Do they allow terrorists to do their thing? Yeah, but they're not terrorists, according to the United States government. And if you believe that they are terrorists, then explain to me why Trump invited them to Camp David. And then even after that, even after they killed an American soldier, then still negotiated a withdrawal agreement with them and said, I'll give you 5,000 more people. Why? Because he wanted a Nobel Peace Prize. That's why.
So if I think Joe Biden had any self-awareness, he'd understand that General Milley made the assessment that President Trump was on mental decline and he had to jump in. Has he thought or read anything that people are writing about him and how they cut off his microphone rather than ask questions? The Political story, they mute, his staff mutes the television when he starts taking questions or going with the press.
Oh, but for the record, ISIS-X is also not classified as a terrorist organization by the State Department because ISIS-X does not exist. It is a figment of Donald Trump's imagination.
People are talking about him the same way. Does he want General Milley to make the same psychological assessment on him and decide to call up our allies and adversaries and circumvent the White House? Doesn't he understand that this is the same criteria unless General Milley is just so blatantly political that only Republicans should fear his assessment?
Well, President Trump was asked about it, and he's accusing General Milley of treason, and Republicans want General Milley to resign.
Look, we all know that the way we left Afghanistan, or
the punishment for treason is not resignation. The punishment for treason is death. So, yeah, Trump is calling for the death of General Milley.
are in the process of leaving has been a
Still people
disaster.
there.
It's been so messy. And now stories are coming out from the Pentagon going, you know we were in charge of doing it, but the boss told us and we said don't do it, but he did it. So sorry.
Yep,
We still have hundreds of Americans, at least 100 that we know of, behind enemy lines there.
But the evacuation flights have paused because of measles.
Right.
For a week.
And then all states got a call yesterday, and we're told how many Afghan refugees they're going to be told to take. Top of the list, Texas is number 2, and number 1 taking the most would be California. I guess that's the price you pay for having the president show up. You get to take 10,000 people you know nothing about. Meanwhile.
Well, no, they're going to be vetted. They're vetted before they even get to this country. There's a process for this. And then they go to the military bases where further vetting happens, and then they're allowed to roam once they've been vetted, once we know who these people are. And yes, California is going to take the most refugees. It's also the most populated state. Texas, also a very populated state with a lot of room. They will take a bunch of refugees, etc. Guess who needs a ton of employees? Yeah. How do we prevent meals? Meals. How do we prevent meals? I don't know. If you're just joining us, I woke up really early this morning and didn't go to bed till very late last night after the hot water wars. By the way, we're still fighting the hot water wars. The hot water tank here, there's 2 in the house, so we have hot water for showers and stuff. But in terms of dishwasher and washing machine, we have no hot water. The house is being sold. So it needs to have a working hot water tank. Buyers are picky about that sort of thing. So we've been fighting those hot water wars. I've advised the owners that we just simply evacuate, that we pull out. We're done with this. There's no way to win these wars. But they insist. Even if my sleep pattern is the casualty, that we stay and jerry-rig that hot water tank. I envision myself later underneath a full hot water tank, cutting the legs of a table, a steel table. That's one solution. Underneath a full hot water tank. That might happen. I'm still trying to come up with the best solution. Either that, or like I said, just letting the next family who lives here die of carbon monoxide poisoning. Not my problem, right? For the record, the next family who lives here has already been classified by the State Department as terrorists. So, really, I'm being a hero. That's right. Once you enter a water war, you don't simply leave. There's a second movie of Waterworld where it's basically the war has been won. They find some land, but for years Kevin Costner suffers from the PTSD of the water wars.
All right, 6:10 here on the East Coast, and coming up, Gabby.
Oh, I know I can drain the tank. Here's the thing. When the house was built, they built a drain in the basement. The drain doesn't actually go anywhere. It goes down about this far and then just hits dirt. You don't just drain the hot water tank. You drain it into a bucket, and then you carry it upstairs and you dump it on the flowers. And then you do it again and you repeat that 40 times. So yes, it is possible, and yes, I've done it. Actually, the last hot water tank did us the favor of draining itself. And that's why we ended up with water in the basement. But yes, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do.
Patino's boyfriend, now a person of interest in her.
SNL alumni take a stand. I don't know what's happening here. I'm not sure what's going on. Like, my YouTube TV just shut itself off. So, and jumped ahead. So I don't know hold on.
The financing.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with the recording here. Let's see where we are.
By the right type of metal detector.
We did it in Boy Scouts.
Right.
Did you find anything?
Yeah, I'm going to have to move again at some point. The house is up for sale, and it may sell at some point. You know, if there's no hot water tank, it's kind of hard to sell a house with no hot water tank, although there's two. But if it's like, just nothing we can do to fix this hot water tank. If it doesn't get fixed, the house doesn't sell. And I don't have to move.
Well, we were...
At some point, they're going to kick me out. I keep breaking mugs. And once you break a mug, you can't fix it, right?
In Kansas, we were like
Right.
2,000 miles
It's hard to
from the
find a
shore.
good beach there.
Hey, look at that! A prairie dog!
Terrible waves in
Remember
Kansas.
the rock mining? They would come to our school in middle school and we would mine those rocks, and I would always just
yeah.
pray
No, Libby, I wish it was an electric hot water tank. It's gas. That's the problem.
that I would get a diamond.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here. And I'm not sure why we can't watch more of the show, but it just went away for a second. I'm just trying to see if they have an interesting guest towards the end. Just more General Milley. They're outraged about General Milley. We can't watch any more of that. I don't know why. Let's go back and see if it'll let us watch anything else. Let's look at Tucker Carlson.
Protect them. Agenda on Fox Nation. We're happy to have her.
Nicki Minaj says she was put in Twitter jail for speaking her mind and sharing a clip of our show. I'm not going to really get involved with Testicle Gate. I have enough issues on my own to... let's talk to Jim Breuer. Let's watch this Jim Breuer interview. So Jim Breuer is a former SNL member. You remember his such characters as, by the way... One of the funniest men on the planet left us a couple of days ago. Norm Macdonald told his final jokes, lost a battle with cancer. Norm Macdonald, Canadian, SNL, used to run the Weekend Update, remember? Had his own show on Comedy Central for a while. Just a funny human being. Quirky, weird. Also, from all reports, really, really very nice. And some of the funniest jokes I've ever heard are from Norm Macdonald. The misdirections that he would do and his delivery. I'd like to do a delivery like Norm Macdonald. I can't. He's got that tone. He had that tone that just made it work so well. One of the funniest jokes he's ever told. I got to think of it in my head before I even started. But he did a Weekend Update. Something along the line, General Motors has announced that Pontiac will no longer be on its production line. Pontiac, the makers of such well-known American vehicles as, well, that's what they're doing anyway. That's not a Norm Macdonald impersonation. That's sort of the tonality of what he did. But you could do the same thing for Jim Breuer. Jim Breuer, former SNL member, has canceled any upcoming tour dates where vaccines are mandated in order for his fans to see the show. You remember Jim Breuer from such memorable Saturday Night Live characters as... Well, that's what he's doing anyway. So Jim Breuer, I think he played Goat Boy. And... I think that was a thing. I remember hating Goat Boy.
They still are not comfortable eating in a restaurant. So obviously we've got some very neurotic people here. But the principle remains.
Do we have neurotic people, Tucker?
If you can force people to get the vaccine.
By the way, #1 cable show, Tucker Carlson, he's taken over for Hannity, has edged out Rachel. People are not so worried about what's happening anymore, so not as many people are watching Rachel. She's still, I think last week she was #5 in terms of overall shows. Fox is again killing it in the ratings, but they're still only about half of what they were during the Trump era. So they're hurting. Hey, Thomas, afternoon.
What can't you do?
But Tucker, this is who the right now is looking to for their information, is Tucker Carlson.
That's a question that Jim Brewer appears to be thinking about. He's a comedian. He just announced he's not performing at any venue that requires...
Oh my God, he's gotten old. I don't know how old he is now, but he looks like he should be in a Vietnam vet movie where he took a couple of extra shells to the head, and now he's mad at everybody. You know who he looks? He's got that look like, what's the guy's name? Voight? John Voight? The crazy man who made those weird videos about Trump. He was in Ray Donovan. I think he's got that look in his eyes right now. I don't know what he's looking at, too.
Patrons to be vaccinated. He joins us tonight to explain why. Jim Brewer, thanks so much for coming on. Interesting that you did this. It caught our attention. Why?
Biden winning the presidency was bad for the mainstream media. It was bad for me, too. I don't get the viewership I used to get during the Trump era. Plus, I've been demonetized. Yeah, that was thanks, Biden.
Tell us.
Hey, apropos of nothing, I got a nice surprise the other day. I do these little joke songs. I do some parodies. One of them is Ice Ice Hockey. It's exactly what you think it is. It's Ice Ice Baby, and I do a parody of it, and I talk about different NHL teams. And I'll do it every couple of years for the different teams that make the playoffs or whatever. Somehow, somewhere, someone on YouTube decided to use my 2009 version of Ice Ice Hockey that I did for the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know what video it's appearing in on YouTube, but that video's gone viral, and I got an automatic deposit for some of my songs. That song just alone, because of the views on YouTube, got me about $650 last month. I have no idea what video it's in. There's no way for me to find out. But thank you. Thank you, whoever made this viral video. And up until now, the song might have made me $20-25. I don't know. But cool. I will take it, especially at a time where now my unemployment's gone. Thank you very much, because the economy's back to where it was. The economy's in fantastic shape, right? But anyway, my stupid Ice Ice Hockey song just got me a check for $650. I'm like, thank you. I hope that video keeps going. I hope it takes off. Same time, ironically, I'm demonetized by YouTube. It's not my video, unless a ton of people are watching that 2009 video I made for that song, which is just like a logo. That's it.
I'll be quiet as you explain why you did this.
Well, honestly, I got a lot of feedback from a couple venues that I was playing, and my fans were really upset. They said, I'm not comfortable with getting a COVID shot, and now they're saying I can't come see you perform unless I do that. Okay. And I looked into it, and that's the last thing you should be doing, is going, hey, you want to come see the, like feeding the seal, the fish. Hey.
What? Like as an incentive? Is that what? So the last thing you want to do is incentivize people to get the shot by saying you can't come see Jim Brewer? True. Where are the judges? Are the judges in yet? No, they're not in yet. Ding, 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 ding. Am I covering the September 18th rally? Yeah, probably. It's going to be it'll fizzle out. Nothing's going to happen at the September 18th rally.
You wanna come see a concert? You wanna here, catch the fit. Why would you do that? Why would you? I don't want any of my fans forced to come laugh.
No, that would be terrible. You never want to force anyone to come to a Jim Brewer show. That is absolutely correct.
And they got to get a shot in them? And
is that where the shot goes? What does he think the shot is? They take a pistol to your head? I'm going to look over to my right inexplicably. What does he have over there? I thought Goat Boy was an act.
And honestly, Tucker, I got to be honest with you.
Oh, now you're going to be honest. Okay. But the thing is, he's right. We should not force anyone to go to a Jim Breuer show.
What really started my video was there's a new narrative.
Oh, there's a video. We haven't seen the video. Should we find the video?
And the new narrative is
What's
the
the new
unvaccinated are the beast. Kill the beast. This program.
Well, no one's suggesting that we kill the unvaccinated. In fact, the idea behind that is completely the opposite. It's keep them alive. Keep the beast alive. I don't know what we're doing here. Are we defending ourselves from the beast, Jim? Is this how we defend ourselves from the beast? Somebody find that video. Let me know, and then we'll play it. Depending on where it's, what platform it's on, actually.
Program goes on forever. Kill the beast. The beast is the unvaccinated. Kill them. And
they're over here.
When our leader.
No. The vaccine keeps them alive. It keeps the beast alive. It's just a thriller night. No one's certified. The beast with the 40 eyes. Get the vaccine right. Put inside their head, and then you're thriller.
Put that out there and pointed the finger like we're the demons. I'm not vaccinated. I had COVID. You're not going to tell me.
Oh, he's not vaccinated. He had COVID. What a surprise. But now the vaccine's here, I think. So when he talks about himself, he knows where the vaccine goes. Everybody else gets the vaccine up here.
About my body. I know.
Oh, okay. No, he's talking about his body. And his body's here, and now he's up here. I don't know. I'm not sure where.
I know my body. I know my morals. I know my faith.
What's that have to do with anything? What does your faith have to do with the vaccine?
You don't come telling me and threaten me and everyone else as if we're the demons. I have 2 close friends right now, fully vaccinated, and they got COVID.
Right, and they're not going to die. Yay! I thought we were killing the beast. Wait, are the vaccine people, are they the beast? I can't keep up.
Yeah.
And they're both sick.
Morning, Alan.
So this is not about safety, because if it was.
No, they're sick. They got the virus. They're sick, but they're not going to be that sick. See? Hopefully not end up in the hospital. Hopefully not die. Because right now, all the people dying, terrible situation of people dying across the United States, less than 2% of them are vaccinated. It's all the unvaccinated who are dying. Okay? You know, the beasts, they're the ones dying.
You, just like you said and I said in my video, eat more fruit. Take care
Not going to help.
of your body.
Not going to help. The people with a better immune system, actually, sometimes COVID ends up creating a cytokine storm and their immune system attacks their organs and they die. You know what does help? Vaccines.
Go to the gym. I've been saying that forever.
Going to the gym will not help you defeat COVID.
You would have thought I called people savage.
Now, okay, going to the gym, not being obese. Obesity is an underlying condition that can certainly help COVID on the way. But again, a ton of fitness experts, gurus are dead. COVID will kill you. Not everybody, of course. Less than 1% of the population. But it can also have long-term effects on you. There are still people suffering now for over a year with long COVID.
Just for doing that. But this is where we're at as society.
Yeah, 85% of the Irish population is fully vaccinated. Yay for Ireland, Thomas.
And the greatest thing, I have to be honest with you.
Yeah. Again, now he's going to be honest.
So blessed because 95% of people, I was just saying it to be honest, Tucker.
Okay, we know. You're telling us that you're being honest. By the way, how do you know someone's about to lie to you? Because the car dealers, well, to be totally honest with you, like I lie to all the other customers, but with you, come in. I'm going to tell you a secret. I've had car dealers Be like, here. And we're outside. We're 50 feet from the nearest person, or there's nobody outside at all. It's just him and I, him and me. It's just me. It's just him and me out in it and me, in them and Zhizh. We're out in a parking lot, nobody around, and they're like, lean in. I gotta say, just to be honest with you, that clear coat, normally that's $800. I can talk to my manager, and I think I can get that down to $750 for you. But don't tell anybody, because there will be a rush. This will be like January 6th up in this parking lot. It's just between you and, just to be honest with you.
One message after the other was, thank you. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you. I feel terrible. I'm a fireman, and they want me to get vaccinated. I don't.
Oh no.
Want to get vaccinated.
Why? Because they're not going to control us. How? How does a vaccine control anybody?
My child, I know someone, my hand to God, and it.
Okay, now he's going to be honest with us.
It was the last vaccine push. Their child, 5 years old, vaccinated, went paralyzed from the neck down, and I do a benefit for him every year. So when I hear people going,
what was, by the way, pretty? What was that last vaccine push that he's talking about? There have been people who have had terrible reactions to different vaccines over the years. No one has died that we know of from Pfizer or Moderna. I don't know. But I don't know, is that the effect that it has on people? Is he still doing Goat Boy all these years later?
oh, you don't know that. No, you don't. You don't know what you're talking about. Explain that to that father and mother. So thank God they're better now.
Terrible. But yeah, some people have adverse reactions to vaccines. That's the way it works. You know what else people have an adverse reaction to? Dying from COVID.
Now, but it took years, so.
Yeah, it's not the COVID vaccine, so I don't know what. So far, I don't know of anyone who's paralyzed from the COVID vaccine. I know some people had like a thrombosis or some sort of leg difficulty. That's happened. Ultimately, they haven't been like, no one's died. No one has stopped walking because of COVID. It's possible. I know that a lot of people get swollen testicles. Well, a lot of people's cousins' friends get swollen testicles. That happens.
I don't understand what's going on.
I know. That's very apparent, Jim.
A lot of humans, and this isn't political, just like the other person said, this is good versus evil.
Yeah, but which vaccine are they talking about, Liberty? We don't know. I'm sure, and he does a benefit for them. That's fantastic. You go, Jim. More power to you. But this vaccine stops COVID.
And this is power versus the powerless.
I, as it turns out in a poll that I saw yesterday, like 56% of other Americans, think that COVID's going to get worse. Like I've been saying all along, since the very beginning, these are just the rehearsal viruses. Delta's bad, but we have not yet seen a variant that can do what things like measles, smallpox, etc. have done to this planet before.
Yes, and it's the power of fear, but it is time for the power of the fearless. I'm sorry, but the fearless have to start rising.
Well,
because
I can see,
we know something's wrong.
I can see.
Okay, what?
Why your fans are
have to start rising. What is this? Oh, don't worry, we got your back.
Grateful. I mean, here you are talking like an.
If there's a fight, I will be standing behind you over there. So you go.
American man. You know, we're the rest of the American men. But I'm grateful that
I'm an American man.
That you've decided that you're going to speak your conscience in public and that it's still allowed. Jim Brewer, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Tucker. God bless.
Did anybody find the video? Let me check my Twitters and see if anyone sent me anything on that. And no, it doesn't appear that that's the case. Let me search the Twitters here. Give me a second here. I'll go to the home. I'll search Twitter for Jim. How do you spell his name? Breuer. Right there. And videos. Let's see if... okay, so this is Jim Breuer. And I don't know if this is TikTok or where this is from, but here we go. This looks like it. Let's find out.
And always remember this. You may be a big celebrity. You may be a huge name in the entertainment world. You may be one of the biggest sports stars in the world. But you know what?
What?
That doesn't mean you're moral. Doesn't mean you're smart.
No.
Doesn't mean you're a good person.
Okay.
All that means is that you are a slave to this. You're a slave to vanity.
Well, no, there's a lot of celebrities that have all the money that they want. Like they're set for life. So they're not slaves to this. Like Julia Roberts could never work another day in her life, not make any more money, and she'll be fine.
You're a slave to the dictatorship to keep you on top of that mountain.
No, a lot of celebrities just disappear. They make a ton of money, and then they're like, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore.
That is evil. It is dark. It's creepy. It's soulless.
Okay.
Soul.
Is this the video?
Less.
All right.
So,
yeah,
that's on you. All you names that are trying to come out and make your stance and tell people what you think they should be doing.
Yeah, the last thing you should do if you're a celebrity is tell people what they should be doing, Jim Breuer.
I'm telling you,
yeah,
the Wellmont Theater, I'm not doing it. It's for December 3rd, and I'm not apologizing. I will not do a show where they force you to come out and laugh, and the only way you can do that?
No one should ever be forced to laugh at a Jim Breuer show. Where are the judges? They don't start work till 8 at the earliest. It's probably some Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur or whatever. They're like, oh, we can't be to work till 8. Yeah, whatever. It's not the Sabbath. I know that much.
You need to get a shot? No. Or you got to go no. So unfortunately, the Wellmont Theater, not doing it, and the Royal Oak Theater, not doing it. I will say this about the Royal Oak. They asked if I would not cancel and reschedule. They believe, and they have hopes, that these big companies that do all the touring and book these venues and own the venues and monopolize the venue and get paid.
Oh no, the company that owns the venue is monopolizing the venue. Oh no.
By big pharmaceutical to make lots of money.
Oh, money. That's the international symbol for money. So I think we can establish that Jim Breuer is crazy.
They're hoping that this changes. But until it does, I cannot perform these venues. I will not perform.
No, you can. You just don't want to.
I would never put my child in that predicament.
What child? What happened? You just like, oh my God, now I actually want to see more. Up until I was not enjoying this. Now I'm like, wait, what child are we talking about? Tell me about this child. This child. Come on, Jim. Does anybody know what is this from? I can't even tell. There's no TikTok thing on it. Is it an Instagram? Did he do an Instagram post? This is different. Let's see.
What Joe Rogan said and went,
oh, this is more. So this is somebody tell me who is this who's this man, and is this an Instagram? Hold on, let me see if I can Jim Breuer Let's see if there's something in news. Video. Because I do have to, it's almost time for me to get up and get rolling here. Okay, so there's a bunch of YouTube stuff. Let's go to videos and let me see. Jim, was it Instagram? September 10th. I think this is the full thing. Let's see. Instagram video by Jim Brewer. Thank you, Google. Oh my God, it's 20 minutes long. We're not going to watch this whole thing. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll watch it later. And I don't even know if it's like a copyright strike thing with Instagram. I've never really done Instagram videos before. So it could get me kicked off of YouTube by showing this video. I don't know. You can go find it yourself. Just go Jim Brewer Instagram. I do have to now get ready for the day. And then I will be fighting more hot water tank wars later. So, hey, Todd Stupler, good to see you. Would you like to drive up to Pasadena, Todd Stupler, and help me lift a hot water tank? I'll empty it. That would be awesome. Okay, Stephanie, good night. Marcy, good night. Todd, good night. Tracy, good night. Everybody else who is watching today, have a wonderful day. I'm assuming you guys are all over somewhere in central Russia and that it's nighttime for you guys. And I'm only saying that because I wish I could go back to bed at this point. Have a lovely day, everybody, and we will probably see you later today. I do feel like I've been remiss in doing the broadcast, and I have been. But I'm hoping to jerry-rig the hot water tank and get this all working, and then I can actually do broadcasts on a regular basis. I've got other big plans as well, so we'll talk about those later. I will broadcast later today. Is it Thursday? Yes. So at some point, even if I don't fix the hot water tank, I will need a break from that, and I will need to catch up on the news, and we will broadcast later today. I can't give you an exact time. I would love it to be able to give you guys an exact time of every day when I broadcast, but my days always change. So here's what I need. I need someone to be a benefactor, like 10 grand a month, and then I can say I'll broadcast every day at 8 a.m., right? Short of that, we'll play it catch as catch can. Guys, thanks very much for joining me this morning. And whenever you're watching this, Jerry Rigg, very famous German in the 1940s. I believe that he invented the atom bomb. And be good to yourself, be good to others. Most importantly, be good to